Tell me more why, or shed some more light on what exactly are your issues with the president's decision.
Now, this kind of reset in the command of the Ghana Armed Forces is not only politically motivated, but it is demoralizing. It is undermining totally, the integrity of security sector governance. It has had many ripple effects within the rank and file of the Ghana Armed Forces. It has taken a lot of their morale away. It has introduced political callous into the Ghana Armed Forces, and it is dangerous for our security. For the purposes of sensitivity to this very dangerous action taken, and at the overarching, repercussions and ramifications on the Ghana Armed Forces, I will be very modest and just sieve out the ones that we can discuss for public discussion. But the colossus, the iceberg, the bigger part of the iceberg, I will not mention it here on this platform. Now, when presidents take over, they have the constitutional prerogative, presidential prerogative, to select chief of defense staff and some of the heads of the commands, the security chiefs. But in the exercise of this, you need to do it most prudently, taking into account the hierarchical nature and the command nature of the Ghana Armed Forces, and in a way that will not bring disruptions, undue disruptions, and introduce political callous into the system. You don't have to sacrifice meritocracy in Ghana Armed Forces on the altar of political loyalty. What has been the precedent for military takeovers and coup d'etats? Whenever new heads of states took over, they sacked all the senior generals from 2-star major general equivalent to lieutenant general equivalent. They sack all of them and promote sometimes colonels, sometimes brigadier generals, and then promote them and appoint them into various commands, and then they reset and start afresh. But in a democratic dispensation, the precedents have been set and they are clear. We all saw how responsible President Kufuor handled the transition when he took over. The first time that he appointed Major General J.B. Dankwa, promoted him from Brigadier General to Major General, it was at the time that he had served about 5 years of his term in 2005. He didn't just come and sack everybody to appoint new ones. When the senior ones had served and then had come to a certain point, and the number of seniors who were in the system were just 1 or 2, that was the time he triggered that action. Now, fast forward to 2017. President Akufo-Addo came in. The same generals that President Mahama had appointed in 2015-2016, promoted to major generals and appointed into position, pretty much same were the people he worked with. The only changes he made were 2. He replaced the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Marshal Samson Oje, at the time. And then he also replaced the Chief of Staff, Major General, at the time. Now, when he took them off, only 2, not all, only 2, he replaced them with the same generals appointed by President Mahama. Major General Buama Akwa, who was appointed by President Akufo-Addo to become the Chief of Defense Staff in 2017, was the Chief of Army Staff appointed by President Mahama during President Mahama's time. But he came and worked with him and even promoted him to become his Chief of Defense Staff. Then when that vacancy of the Chief of Army Staff was created, President Akufo-Addo looked through the next most senior general within the ranks. At the time, it was Major General Ayamdo. He was appointed Chief of Army Staff. The Chief of Naval Staff was not touched. Rear Admiral Peter Fedu, was not touched. The Chief of Air Staff at the time, Air Vice Marshal Manchebi Tei Nagai, was left at post. And they all served to their full term in 2019 before new ones were appointed. So that is how responsible and how prudent and that you must undertake changes in command. But what do we see? Fast forward 2025. President Mahama comes in and says that he cannot work with the CDS, who is now not the Ghana's army has now expanded, and by expansion and by investing heavily into the army the past medium term, and upgrading some of the key units, the corps, artillery, armor, signal, and 48 engineers into full brigade status, our army capacity has now attained the level of a 4-star general headship at the command. So the Chief of Defense Staff is now full general, 4-star. That is the status bequeathed to President Mahama. So it was expected that he will augment on that. There are about 15 generals who are within the rank of Major General, Lieutenant General, and then full General 1. So when you put them together, they are 15. So if you can't work with any of these, then who can you work with? Are you saying that all these are NPPs? Are you introducing political collaboration into the army? So you say you can't work with Chief of Defense Staff, you can't work with any of the security chiefs, so you sack all of them. You even go further to sack everybody within the rank of Major General and equivalent. All 2-star generals, all 3-star general, and a 4-star general. You have sacked all of them and appointed Brigadier General 1-star as the Chief of Defense Staff. Now, in military, it's a hierarchy. So a 4-star, 3-star, 2-star general cannot salute a 1-star general. So automatically, you have dismissed them. Most of these 15 generals, senior rank generals, have experiences, have a lot of training invested in them, and they have key essential skills that still could have been served this country for the next 6 years. Some of them by rank and age, they have about 4 to 6 years to serve before their retirement. All the investment put in them and the essential critical skills put in them is all now sacrificed. It's all now gone. Now with the introduction of the new brigade, one thing is that you will have to spend money in paying their severance, paying the severance of those you have dismissed, that you cannot work with, that you cannot trust. And in addition to the millions of severance pay that you will pay, you also have to find additional money now to train the newly appointed brigadier generals gradually to be able to have the kind of critical skills, essential skills required to occupy such positions. For instance, if someone has been trained and flown a certain number of hours as a pilot, as an Air Force pilot, and has risen to a certain rank, and then because you say you can't work with them, they have about 4 years, 6 years more, you have sacked them, that experience, we have lost it as a nation.
Okay.
And now you have to reinvest. This is just one example I am citing. And so the people that you have terminated, this is like a military takeover. It is so dangerous for our democracy. Okay. Some have even said that some of the 4 brigadier generals who have been appointed are like 4 years junior to certain brigadier generals who are even of the same rank, so currently in service. Okay. So now meritocracy is sacrificed. Professionalism, hard work, competence are no longer considerations. Political loyalty have been the new consideration. It is very dangerous. It does not inspire, neutrality, loyalty to the state in a young man that is in uniform, who has seen how his seniors, for about 30 years, 25 years, 28 years of their hard work and sacrifice to the nation, have been booted out because of politically motivated, decisions. Okay. This decision is most regrettable. It is disruptive. It is costly, and it must never again be countenanced. In our Fourth Republic dispensation, President Mahama must be minded that it wasn't guns that took over power for him. It was thumbs. It was 6.3 million votes, and so he's expected to act as such. Now, owing to the disruptions and the damping morale among the rank and file, we as a Committee on Defense and Interior and as a ranking member, we have invited the Minister for Defense. We've hauled him before the committee to appear before us as soon as possible to come and offer assurances. We have to support them to be able to solve that crisis, to be able to assure us how this rather far-fetched transition is going to be managed to restore morale, and to be able to manage it smoothly, so that will not compromise the security and the stability we have in this country. He must come and answer what accounted for that.
That's fine.
And what is going into the management of this the transition.
I'll give you 15
but let me just end on this note to say that I say Hayiko to all the generals who have sacrificed for this nation and have served this great nation of theirs and ours in the most consensuous way, and today they have been dismissed rather bitterly. and to also, as I thank them, to also congratulate the newly appointed Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier General William Ejapong, the Chief of Staff, all the security chiefs, to congratulate them and to assure them that they have not come to they have not come on a very ordinarily note, and so whatever distortions that must have been created, we are there to support them.
Okay.
We assure them that we will cooperate with them, we will support them, so that they will excel for the sake of the security of our country. This is all we have. Ghana is all we have. And also to thank IGP who is gone, to congratulate the newly appointed
we don't
IGP.
have all the...
No, let me, it's important.
No, you've exhausted all the time.
Because you don't try to create scandals.
No, Reverend.
When you are making changes. So we must thank the people who have served.
You've done that already.
Congratulate those who have taken over. So the new IGP, congratulations. We will support you to succeed. And for the new Chief of Fire Officer, new Director General of Ghana Prison Service,
Reverend, we had a deal.
General of Immigration, we must congratulate them.
We had a deal. 10 minutes, it's okay.
We will work with them to make sure that the security we have in this country is not compromised.
So it's
rather augmented upon.
Ghana is a democratic nation. We are governed by laws. And the Supreme
So the Honorable
Law.
Dr. Mahama has just sent me a text, Reverend. He says there is no invitation from Parliament as we speak.
Okay.
The Honorable Member of Parliament should stop introducing partisan policies into the Ghana process.
Yes. Did they introduce it?
No, you had your time. I was just
no, he's just stating.
No, I think it's important.
He said
I allowed you to.
He has invited me on a show like this as a minister of a sector as sensitive as that.
He has not. You said you have.
No, you said there's an invitation.
Yes, you said you have summoned him, and he's only putting the fact out. And Dr. Mahama is right to do so.
So he will appear.
So yes, so you made it appear so he has already been invited. Now